Hello everybody, it's Aaran back from Screenstars and I'm here once again to do another review for Geek Legion of Doom. Today I'm here to review the 2021 drama/thriller The Modern Way, a film that is directed by Giuseppe Montecuccolo and it stars Jake Henderson, who also wrote the film, Ashley Hodgson, Grace Long, Leon Dean, Alice Handel and Jake Parr. Now the film focuses on England in the 1980s. And if you don't know what the UK was like in the 1980s, I mean, you had your punks, you had your mods, you had your rockers, you had your skinheads. And this film focuses on two groups, essentially, the mods and the skinheads. Danni is a young teenager who is having a tough time with her family as her mum's addicted to drugs. She's got in with the wrong crowd, essentially a group of skinheads who don't treat her particularly well. And the local mod, who's like the head of the mods, who's well respected within the community, Terry, played by Jake Henderson, who wrote the film, kind of takes her under his wing and he wants to do right by her because he knows her family and he used to know her brother who passed away. However, this gang of skinheads is having none of it and they're putting up an awful lot of resistance. And he offers to take her to Brighton this weekend to try and, cheer her up, make her feel better. However, the skinheads follow down there for a confrontation. Going alongside that, there is also a group of mods. One of them, Frankie, essentially deals drugs, and he takes £500 worth of drugs off a local dealer in order to sell them. And these local skinheads steal his moped, set it on fire, and steal his drugs. So he is now down £500 with a local gangster, and he's got to find a way to sort that out, pay him back before he gets seriously hurt. So he goes to the head of the mods, played by Jake Henderson, for help. And it all basically ends up with them all going to Brighton for this weekend, and it all comes to a head. Right, what are my thoughts on The Modern Way? This will generally depend on your thoughts on gritty, grounded, realistic dramas. If I'm in the right frame of mind, I can really, really enjoy one. And I have to say, I thought this was superb. Obviously inspired from Quadrophenia. If anyone knows the UK, knows the history of the 80s and the mods and the rockers and all this kind of stuff, you'll know what Quadrophenia is. And this film actually references that as well. And it really does highlight a time in the UK. It really does highlight British culture in the 80s, as well as the social and class differences at that time, and the need for the youth of that day to feel part of something and to have an identity, which is why all these gangs were going, the mods, the rockers, the skinheads, and all the rest of them. And while I was born in 1972, so while I was aware of all this when I was growing up in the early 80s, I was a little bit too young, even though I had some friends where I grew up who were definitely mods, they're into madness and all this kind of stuff. So I used to kind of hang around with them, even though I didn't really understand what mods and rockers were, I suppose, at that age. When I was that age, I was too young to really understand it. But it was a time in the UK when the culture of the youth really felt strongly about having an identity, and this film superbly highlights it. Initially, early on, I wasn't sure what to feel about the film because it was a slow start to the film, and I didn't necessarily buy the characters or was invested in their characters or performances. Early on, initially, I thought a couple of the performers, it felt like drama student performances. It felt like they were trying too hard almost. It was too over the top. And then I really settled into the film and I got used to these characters and the way they were expressing themselves. And I kind of quickly came to realize that it wasn't anything to do with the performances or the talent of the acting involved. It was obviously a conscious effort, you know what I mean, in regards to, these individuals having these strong personalities and these issues. And the film, while it's not like really gritty and dirty like a lot of British dramas, you know what I mean, it does highlight, the drug issues in the 80s and the issues between these gangs and things like that. but it also has a lighter touch approach in a sense of there is a slight layer of comedy that runs through it that kind of makes you feel comfortable at the same time while you're watching it, actually not an easy thing to do with a film like this, because sometimes these films cannot always be an easy watch, and this film invites you in, sits you down, gets your attention, and actually engages you as an audience member. And I was really, really super impressed with that. So this really does depend on, do you like UK-based cinema? Do you like, movies set in this time period that's really trying to highlight, what this country, the UK, was like in the 1980s? And I thought this did a really good job. They're all driving the right cars, they're all wearing the right clothes. And it felt authentic, grounded, gritty, and I have to say I was super impressed with this one. So I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Definitely worth checking out if you're looking for a really well-made, grounded drama. If you're not interested in that sort of thing, this definitely won't be for you. But I really appreciate my time with it. So thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to call back onto the Geek Legion of Doom channel very, very soon for plenty more reviews and content.